This webinar is for anyone who is experiencing change, anxiety, uncertainty, and anxiety related with academic success, graduation anxiety, and it's designed for students, teachers, or for anyone who is trying to transition in their career or trying to change their classes and facing an academic transition that brings uncertainty about what might come next. So it's quite normal to experience anxiety if you are experiencing any of these changes. And transition always involves uncertainty, and many people are worrying and feeling anxious, and it's quite normal to feel this way. It's because people's structure, environments, routines are changing, and they don't know what to await. And uncertainty about fitting and belonging and connecting with new people. And if before, for instance, people develop new strategies or existing coping strategies, then while you are entering a new environment, you don't know how to cope, you don't know what to await, and you don't know what will happen to your identity. And there can be identity questions about what am I in this context. And all of these are genuine stresses and not signs of inadequacy. So it's quite normal to experience anxiety if you are living any of these changes. And probably most of people are experiencing, and it genuinely tells that you care about your career or your studies or the version of you that you want to be in that situation. And one of the stressors is that how we create relationship with uncertainty. Oftentimes we think that everything is certain. However, there is a lot of uncertainty in each moment in our lives. For instance, we can know what will happen after 1 hour, after 20 minutes, and generally we are moving or acting as if everything is certain, everything is definite, and because of routines we feel safe, or we feel as if we know everything. However, uncertainty is actually everywhere. It's just how we relate to it. And when we are assuming that there is certainty, whereas actually when you look from philosophical perspective, there is no definite certainty at all. So we just assume that things are going to go the certain way, and that's how we're continuing. However, when we face with bigger uncertainty, we start to see uncertainty from the lenses of fear or anxiety, or we are focusing our attention on what might go wrong or how we can control it. However, not everything is possible to control, and we forget at that point about factors that we cannot control. And instead of using our energy to create, to love, to contribute, or to take uncertainty as an opportunity to grow, develop, to increase our skills, or to meet new people, we oftentimes feel stuck looking through the lenses of fear or anxiety. And noticing this and increasing your awareness is actually the point that creates change. And once you are able to change your perspective, or to change the relationship with anxiety or uncertainty, this becomes the point of change, and you can start to use your time and to shift your efforts, your attention and energy on the direction who do you want to be. So accepting the fact that nothing is definite, nothing is certain, and there is uncertainty in each part of our lives, and accepting this, trying to notice and understand who do you want to be in the middle of chaos or stressors or uncertainty, even if knowing that you cannot control everything and there are a lot of things that are out of our control, and knowing that there is a lot of stress, who do you want to be in this moment? How do you want to respond? And oftentimes we're also modeling our behavior to the people around us. How do you want to leave an impact for the people around you? And that becomes the point where we feel relieved, and we set our goals, and we renew, refresh our perspective on how do we want to be. And high achieving students often arrive at new academic levels university or graduate school into competitive programs, having been among the top performers in their previous environments. However, in new environments, maybe there are a lot of people who are performing well like them, and this might cause some stress as well, relational stress, because there are a lot of successful other students. And also asking yourself or asking your child again, how do you want to be, how do you want to respond to this stress, and why your education, why your career is important for you, is also a relieving factor. Because when you just set a goal, for instance, achieving a high score or being very successful in your career, you might feel upset if you cannot reach that goal, and this goal can feel frustrating or exhausting after a certain time. But if you tied your goal into an identity, for instance, who do you want to be while you are trying to achieve this goal? Who do you want to be while you are trying to transition? This would help you to understand about what matters for you, about your values, about your identity, and so taking smaller steps every day towards that version of you, and taking some efforts, making efforts to become that version, will not make you feel frustrated or upset or exhausted, because this would motivate you. And even if you cannot achieve the goal 100%, this still would make you feel good about yourself, that you still made some efforts on becoming the person whom you want to be. And acceptance of genuine uncertainty, as we said, uncertainty is everywhere. Outcome of transition genuinely cannot be known in advance, and trying to resolve uncertainty through planning or reassurance seeking or avoidance can consume a lot of energy without reducing uncertainty. So of course we will take some efforts to plan, to take steps, to try to improve our skills. However, when it's too much, this can create a lot of anxiety, and that's why accepting some factors that can be out of our control and taking intentional steps every day, while knowing that we cannot control everything, and thinking about how do we want to be at this moment, even if we don't know where we are going at this time. How do we want to travel? How do we want to walk? What's important for us? Maybe, for instance, learning or becoming a knowledgeable person, a compassionate person, kind person, contributing person. These values are available to you in any environment. So, also questions about identity, like sometimes when you're faced with uncertainty, you might ask yourself, who am I in this environment? But again, reminding yourself about the qualities that you want to see in yourself can create a sense of relief, relaxation, and instead of placing your energy or attention to worries or to stress, you can intentionally choose how you would like to act in this environment. Who do you want to be? Maybe there are a lot of other students, because they are also new and they are experiencing similar challenges as you. And if you think that you are the only one, or you are experiencing it too much, actually, knowing that everyone is carrying their own pain, their own fears with them, is also something uniting, that you are not alone. And it's quite normal to feel this way, and feeling these uncomfortable experiences is a part of being human, is another factor that is relieving. And when have you experienced uncertainty or chaos or stress and navigated this transitional period well in the past? What helped you? Which environments, which people supported you in these challenges, and what was there about you that helped you to cope with it? And which qualities, which features did you use? Who you were at that moment, and what difference did it make for you to be able to navigate transition or stress in a meaningful way for you? And what difference did it make for other people in the past, when you were able to stay calm, confident, or compassionate in the past? And what was what did you do for this to happen? And these strategies and features that you have are already here right now, and you can use them again for the for the challenges that you are experiencing right now. And oftentimes we find ourselves overthinking and worrying too much, feeling anxious and engaging. And whereas we are overthinking, we are spending too much energy in our heads, trying to not to feel certain feelings or to suppress new feelings. And anytime when you notice these patterns with you, you are free to act differently. For instance, you can plan in advance how do you want to respond if there is an uncertainty or transition or anxiety or stressor, and if you start to respond in a certain way, you can sit down and decide for yourself how you want to respond differently. Maybe you could take some small steps that would help to change your emotions or behavior or thoughts, and generally when you, for instance, respond differently to certain situations, you will find that your emotions are changing, your mindset is changing. Maybe you have noticed if you can step outside and take a walk, for instance, this generally helps to feel more relieved, relaxed, and in the same manner you can choose to do something different when you are starting to overthink. And engagement itself generates information and connection that reduces uncertainty over time. And identity work in transition. Transitions often involve identity negotiation. Uh, who am I now? And a lot of people are asking the same questions for them. And sometimes our people are fused with the thoughts that I'm a failure, I'm just a student, I'm just a co-worker, colleague, whereas they forget about other their roles as a parent, roles as a child, grandchild, or a wife, a husband, a friend, and oftentimes the times when we feel stuck are when we have rigid sense of self, and you are not just one, your role, your performance level, or your external identity markers. You are the observer of all these changing external circumstances. You can be the observer of your feelings, of your thoughts, if you are not fused with them. And building new support networks. According to research, if people are able to have social support and they are more socially active, they can less be impacted by stress less, and they can easily navigate challenges. And quality of social connections established early in new environments significantly predicts long-term academic success and well-being. Also, being able to share about your feelings, about your worries with other people around you whom you can trust, whom you can connect, is also another factor that can be used to decrease performance anxiety, academic anxiety, and to be more successful. So if you want to apply this strategy for your kids, you can try to speak, to communicate about their performance, about their studies, which is found to considerably decrease anxiety levels. And actively building connections despite social anxiety is one of the highest leverage transition investments. And normalizing adjustment period. If you are trying to help your friend or colleague or child or parent, most academic transitions involve from 3 to 6 months adjustment period before genuine comfort and performance capacity return. This means that anxiety that you are experiencing is quite normal, that everyone is experiencing it. And students who know this, who frame their difficulty as normal adjustment rather than evidence of fundamental inadequacy, navigate transitions significantly better. So also noticing your thoughts about this transition, about these challenges or uncertainty is another factor you can use if you want to support yourself better. What do you think about this transition period? Which thoughts you have? Are you having some rigid thoughts about your identity, or sometimes some thoughts might be not realistic or not reflecting reality, because we might have automatic thoughts, and when we don't notice that these are just thoughts, we start to get fused with them, and they might impact our behavior and emotions. They might become beliefs about people, about the world, about ourselves. So noticing these thoughts is one of the first steps towards change, because if you are able to notice, you will be able to change and to respond to them differently. For instance, if you believe that world is not trustable and you cannot trust anyone, or that people will hurt you and it will be difficult for you to connect, this thought will become a barrier for you for connection. But when you notice that these thoughts include overgeneralization, that not everyone is like this, that everyone is different, you can take more steps towards connecting and learning new environment, and even asking yourself, how do you want to be in this situation? Even if people are not trusted or they might hurt you, how do you want to respond to this? How do you want to be? Do you want to be a kind person, contributing person, compassionate person? And transition is a difficult impermanent. It involves uncertainty, discomfort, and social adjustment, and they are time limited. They are not going to last forever, and oftentimes people get adjusted, they get adapted. So also, again, if you could look into the future, and if you could look from 5 years, 2 years from now, from the place where you have already adapted, where you feel well, how do you want to see yourself? What would you like to advise to yourself to use this time limit while you are trying to adapt? Or if you were a child, if you could look at your child version of you, what were some dreams you wanted to have, or what were some skills you wanted to learn, and also using this as a motivation for yourself, changing perspectives. Who is your best friend, or who is the person who is closest to you? If they could suggest you something, what they would like to suggest you, or if you were having similar, if your friend was having similar challenges as you, what would you like to advise to them, how you would like to support yourself? So this can grant you some insights about how you can support yourself in these challenges. And transition value statement at the beginning of any new academic context, asking yourself, how do you want to show up in this environment? What values do you want to guide your engagement? What kind of student do you want to be here, regardless of outcomes? This values statement provides a stable guide when external circumstances are in flux. And writing about your most successful previous transitions, what specifically helped you? Who was most supportive? What internal resources did you draw on? What was the first sign that things were getting better? And what did you do for this to happen? And applying these specific strengths derivatively to your current transition is important. And engagement commitment, making one specific committed social or academic engagement in your new environment this week. Not waiting to feel settled first, but acting in the service of your belonging values before the belonging feeling arrives. And adjustment timelines, writing and carrying transition adjustment typically takes 3 to 6 months, and that it's quite normal to feel discomfort during this time. And this doesn't mean that your competence is gone. Oftentimes when people are stressed or worried, some parts of their brain are hypersensitive, hyperactive, and this can make concentration, focusing more challenging. And this doesn't mean that you will stay like this forever. And generally, when stress levels decrease and people feel more relaxed, relieved, they can function better, and they are going back into their better functioning. And I have received a question from you. You were saying my previous academic environment was much more supportive, and how do I adjust to be a harder one? The skills that made you successful in supportive environments are portable, so that successful version of you hasn't disappeared. It's still there waiting for you to remember it. And you can again carry those features into the current environment, current challenges, and asking yourself what specifically worked before, how can those strategies be adapted to the new demands and challenges, and your academic competence traveled with you even if the external support structure has changed. So we tried to discuss about different strategies you can apply for yourself if you are trying to go through transition or difficult moments in your life, if you are trying to learn something new, to adjust to a new environment. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, don't forget to hesitate to ask your questions and leave your questions in the comments. Take good care of yourself and see you in the next videos again.